been a long time coming. Whoa, whoa.
Welcome to day 6 and chapter 6 of our fairy tale reread. Are you enjoying it? I do hope you're enjoying it. Thank you for your lovely messages and your questions. Keep them coming in. Now, chapter 6. One of the places that Rosie goes to is M&H Bakers. Now, if you've been to New York and you've been to the Upper West Side, there is a famous bakery shop called H&H Bakers. So M&H was basically my version, and I did have somebody who went to New York and was like, I think you spelled it wrong in your book. No, I did that on purpose, but it's based on H&H Bakers. And there are two guys, Frank, who's at the front of house, and there's Luigi, who's always at the back, and you only ever see Luigi's hairy arm come out. So I'm going to read you a little bit of that scene. Frank, the small round guy behind the bakery counter, shouted out as I walked in. Good morning to you, Miss Duncan. Hi, Frank. How are you today? He waved his hand from side to side. Oh, so, you know. Uh-huh, I replied with a nod. No matter how brightly the sun is shining, how many customers he has, or generally how good his life is, Frank will always find something to despair over. In that sense, he's every inchy New Yorker. So I asked with a smile, what's so special today then? Anything good? Frank placed a hand across his heart and feigned offence. Do I have anything good? Do I have anything good? I am shocked you gotta ask me. Okay, lady, how's this? He reached behind him and lifted a basket onto the counter. Check these babies out. I surveyed the basket full of large golden brown bagels. The smell was amazing, like warm spiced apple pie. Wow, apple, sugar and cinnamon, right? I'll take 6, please. Frank let out a whoop and clapped his hand. She got it! He spun round and called loudly to the back of the store. Hey, Luigi, she got it right again! A short, incredibly hairy arm appeared around the door that led to the kitchen and waved. A thick, breathy Italian-American voice called back, That's great, Frankie! Frank turned back and filled a brown paper bag with bagels. You're too good, Rosie, he smiled, shaking his head. Too good, but we'll get you one day soon. All the way through the book, there are little stories that turn up, and there were 2 reasons why I did this. I wanted you to have more stories than just the main characters. And I love films that have like little vignettes of somebody else's life. I think it gives you an idea of what it's like to live in a neighbourhood. But also, because you never know, I just thought it would be really good if it ever gets made into a film. That you can then have, you know, Robert De Niro could be Frank in M&H Bakers, and you could just get loads of famous people to come in and have a cameo. So really, I'm doing the work of a director for them. So all they need to do is offer me a film deal. Film rights are available. I have to say that every time because you never know. Now, I said today that I was going to tell you a little bit about my journey to publication. I started writing it, like I say, about 8 years before it was discovered on Autonomy. It was just for me. I didn't think anyone else was going to read it. It wasn't called Fairytale of New York. It was called Coffee at Kowalski's, which I thought was quite cool. When I was a little kid, I used to be allowed to stay up and watch Cagney and Lacey. And there was always a part in every episode where the chief would come out of his office and he'd go, get me a coffee, Kowalski. And so for me, that was New York. So that's where it came from. And I just thought it was just fun. And it was kind of, well, who's Kowalski? And where is that from? Oh, it's a florist shop. Oh, well, who was Mr. Kowalski? And how come Rosie's running it now? And so that's where the story began. And then I heard that there was a site called Autonomy that was started. It was set up by HarperCollins for unpublished writers. I wanted to sort of see what other writers thought of it, because by that point I'd reached the stage where I was kind of wanting to share it with people but not really knowing how. I think it was on there for about a month, 2 months, something like that. And then I had an email from a lady who said that she was an editor at Avon, which is an imprint of HarperCollins. She actually said, don't get your hopes up, which I thought, it's like, please, I know where I stand. She said, don't get your hopes up, but I'm calling in a few manuscripts that I like the look of. Could you send me the full manuscript? Well, I hadn't finished it. At the same time, I'd lost my job. I'd just been made redundant, and so I had a week of garden leave, which was quite handy. So when I wasn't, to stop me panicking about money and what was going to happen and how I was going to find another job that close to Christmas and all that kind of stuff, I sat up for 3 days and 3 nights and wrote 20,000 words and finished off the manuscript and sent it off, and really didn't think it was going to be anything other than just a really nice happening in, to be honest, quite a nasty time of my life. And then 2 weeks later, I received an email from the publishing director And she said, I've read Coffee at Kowalski's, I would really like to talk to you about it. Could you give me a ring, please? So I called her. And at the end of the phone call, she said, we would like to publish you, which was just a massive shock to me. I kept expecting someone to turn around and go, not really. And then Fairytale came out and it went nuts. Absolutely nuts. It sold 100,000 copies in 8 weeks. It went into the Sunday Times top 10. It stayed there for 5 weeks at number 8. It was a complete dream come true, but also a whirlwind, and took a good few years for me to kind of own it and go, yeah, that's my story that's done it. So tomorrow, day 7, chapter 7, a whole week a Fairytale reread. Are you having fun? I'm having fun. I am going to talk about Celia. Celia is Rosie's best friend. I'm going to tell you who the real life person is who inspired Celia, and lots more about the book. Have you got a question? Is there something you'd like to know about Fairytale of New York? You can ask me. Just tweet me at Wordsmith. I'm also Wordsmith on Instagram, Miranda Dickinson author on Facebook, and you can email me mirandawordy@gmail.com. Happy reading. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Been a long time coming. Whoa.